Good morning. I want to talk to you about ripples. You've heard the analogy before. A good deed is like a stone dropped in water, sending out ripples across the world. We hear this analogy and we like it, but I'm not sure we ever fully realize how far-reaching those ripples can be. I want to talk to you this morning about how your contributions to Westminster send out far-reaching ripples. I want to do that by telling you a story, and it's my story. Now, if you don't know me, you may be wondering why Lud and Jean are holding my children. My maiden name is Weaver, and I am their daughter. My brother Zach and I have been part of the Westminster family since 1987. Zach and his family were wise enough to be on a long-planned trip so that they didn't risk screaming children in front of hundreds of people. We're going to keep our fingers crossed for ours this morning. So as you may imagine, my Westminster story begins before I can even remember. I was 4 when Dad accepted the job here. The story goes that we walked into the church office that first day, he introduced us as his family, and I opened my mouth and threw up everywhere. It was the first of many sick days here at WPC. With the exception of my parents, I am certain that Zach and I have spent more time in this building than anyone else. Not only did we spend sick days on Mom and Dad's couch, we were here for every single event that this church puts on. We were in the weekday school. We did It's Elementary before it was It's Elementary. I think they created it because they needed someplace for us to go. Middle school youth group, I did it when it was Action Years. Senior highs, mission trips, Montreat youth conferences, church dinners, November nights, Christmas pageants. When they tell you that they have a program for everyone, they mean it, and I can say that because I have done them all. And I gotta tell you, there were times that I didn't want to be here. When I left for college at 18, I said I'd never come back to Greenville. But as most adults in this sanctuary can attest, you should never say never. And I couldn't envision how different my perspective would be at 30 than it was at 18. This community of faith is one of the reasons that I came back to Greenville. I have lived all over, and I have never found a place like this one, with our commitment to theology, to missions, and to one another. Now, having said that, when I moved home and my mother said, I told you, screaming children. When I moved home and my mother said, it'd be nice if you met someone at church, I said something along the lines of, Mom, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And in the spirit of never saying never, I then met my husband on our adult mission trip to the Dominican Republic. So you want to talk about ripples? My children exist because of this church, and that's pretty extraordinary. Zach and I are proud to be second-generation members of this congregation, raising third-generation members. We grew up here, we're both married here, had our children baptized here, and send our children to school here. We participate in young adults, and I must admit, most of our friends are friends from church. Westminster is our home, and your contributions, both monetarily and personally, have shaped who we are. Now you may be thinking, Kate, that's a neat, if weird and slightly extreme story, but it doesn't match mine. Well, not everyone meets their husband at church, and most of you probably don't spend your sick days here at WPC. But the impact of your gifts here, the support of the youth programs and education, the adult mission trips, made me who I am and gave me the family that I do. I guarantee you, I am not unique in that. We have multiple families in this congregation with several generations who attend. Every child who attends our programs is building a foundation of theology, of giving, and of love that I can tell you from personal experience they will carry with them out into the world. Your gifts enable those programs to continue. We are members who care deeply about one another, and I am sure that each of you can tell a story of when a member of this congregation has been there for you when you needed it, or about a program in this very active community that spoke to you or changed your life. And if you think my ripples with these children are extraordinary, think about the children in Malawi who can communicate because of the WPC-supported School for the Deaf. Think about the mothers and children in Malawi who survived childbirth because of our hospital there. Think of the children in the Dominican Republic or the girls in Pakistan who go to school because of this congregation. Think of the children here in Greenville who are learning life skills at Pleasant Valley, or who aren't sleeping on the streets or in their cars because they're safely sleeping in our classrooms through GAIN. Think of the ripples those children are going to send out into the world. I could go on and on, but the ripples that you create with your contributions are changing lives both inside and outside these walls. I thank you for helping create and support my ripples, and I ask that you consider pledging and giving so that we can continue to send ripples out into the world. Thank you.